Hey yo, what's up guys? It's me, the Great Weatherfair, back in another video, and this is what if Deku had a water slash lightning quirk. Now, yesterday I was supposed to, upload this 2K special. I know right now I have like 3K, but it's just write it as a 2K special, alright? And then I'm gonna do the 3K special more later on. Also, I have been running around my room thinking about the plot on this one, since it is going to be a villain, a villain what if, and it's probably going to be my first ever villain what if. Congrats. And I was really overwhelmed by like how quick I actually got to 3K. I got to 3K in like one day. One day. And holy shit. I want to thank you all so much. I really am. I want to thank you all so much. That means a lot to me. Anyways, I have to do after this what if I have to do a what if Deku was a blind swordsman. Alright, that's gonna come up next. What if Deku was crushed, part 2, and what if Deku was an ice dragon, part 4, I believe? Yeah, probably part 4. So that's what I'm saying. If you wanna know more about my schedule, my Discord is gonna be linked below the video. Oh, oof. Sorry. Alright, so I want no more in my Discord, alright? I just made it like 2 days ago, but whatever. It's still in a work in progress. And yeah, I don't think I have much else to say, so let's get right into this what if. So, we're gonna start the story off, normally, Izuku growing up. Now, Izuku, he has the fresh kicks when he's, little and all. And he's the most, enjoyable person to be around, being a little kid and all, happy energy and all that. But Izuku was blessed with at least many brain cells than other kids his age. He's actually pretty smart. He can actually determine what is good and what is evil and knows the difference between them. That's a lot. And he knows that by the age of 3. Now, he learned this when he went to school one day, alongside with Kachan, and the teachers start to say about, well, heroes and villains. They're talking about if they're gonna be future heroes. Everyone, cheered in class saying they're gonna be the best heroes ever, and they can't wait to get their quirks. And Izuku is learning from this. Izuku knows what exactly the teacher is doing. They're hyping him up into thinking they're, gonna be future heroes, which is alright, I guess. But as the teachers goes into detail about how heroes are the greatest, opportunities in having a career, and also how brave the heroes are and how great they are, and just how they save people, and especially kids his age is gonna learn about All Might, the number one hero so far, the symbol of hope, the justice, and the just overall just the best of the best. And everyone, they're hyping up, cheering All Might on, even though he's not even there. And the teachers go on to say how evil the villains are, and they wouldn't even care if they would actually hurt someone. And everyone just booing at them and all. Deku was very different though. He doesn't know why everyone is bullying at the villains. He understands that they're evil and all, but there's these they think that they're not a person. Like, overall, they're being taught how villains are just this evil person who will actually go through lengths just to get whatever he wants, his selfish desires, and wouldn't care if the other people around him would get hurt. And the kids are booing at all this and saying that the villains are evil and they should just go away. And some of them just say that the number one hero is gonna blast them away, using his amazing quirk. And Izuku, he just doesn't understand that, sure, villains are evil, but they aren't born evil. He knows this. Even though he's like, a very young age, he knows why villains are like these. Whenever the teachers would go, I guess, on a field trip to a movie theater, and they'll see how great a hero would destroy the villain, even though this villain had, you know, deadly intent on hurting other people. It shows the background of that character. It shows that they have been through a rough time in their years, and they just needed a fresh start, even though it means going into a bad road. And that's all they've been taught. And after, the hero destroys the villain or takes down the villain, they put him back in the car and just go straight to prison. And Izuku just thinks, well, I mean, I don't understand why they will take down the villain, but like, I mean, he has his own goals and his own desires. Even though it means like having a selfish one, at least he has one instead of a hero. His goals are so, well, let's put it this way. A hero's goal is to protect people, right? And their goal is to be the best of the best. And Izuku knows that for a fact, but villains have a more complex goal. They want him to not feel the same pain as other people felt. That's why they are called, well, villains. They will go through lengths and, well, have their own, well, decisions and makings on a person. The person is not just there for display. The person's built brick by brick. Not everyone is born evil or wants to do evil things because they wanted it to. It's just that they were forced to. Izuku knows for a fact that villains aren't born evil. They were turned evil. They were molded into evil. And Izuku knows that heroes won't even give a crap about them, even if they get hurt. They just cared about their, well, appearance in the civilians, sight. They see him as a heroic person, but doesn't really know that person at all. How much they will hurt the villains. It's kind of heartbreaking if you actually think about it for a second. If, well, heroes take down the villains either have complex goals. For example, if a man and a woman, they had their children and all, they were blessed with a great amount of money and everything, sooner or later, the husband loses his job and further in life loses his wife. He was left alone with his, children, and he didn't have any way to gain any money. The man would lose everything that he ever had. He would be on the streets, and possibly one of his own children will get sick, and he doesn't have money. Even if he asked money to other people, they would just call him a bum. And if he asked help to a hero, they would just think to him and say, go have a job. But the man can't, because he already tried. No one would hire him. No one would even give him money. No one would give him the attention. But he knows for a fact that he has a family to take care of. So he would probably band up with a couple delinquents and villains and try to take down a bank or so, or anything to gain some money for his son. And, well, here comes the heroes who will save the day and take down the ferocious evil villains. They will take down the man, bag him up, and throw him in a jail, without even considering his own background. And sooner or later, his son will die. His other children will grow up not having a father by their side, even though the father would desperately say that he has children to take care of. The heroes would just think of this as, well, a means of lies and deception. That's what they all think of villains. Liars, deceptions. Overall, a bad person. But no one in this world is born evil. They're molded evil. Someone had to do it. There's no good or evil in this world. They're all just human. even if they have fantastic or mutation quirks. In the end, they're all humans. They're just giving in to their needs to survive. He was mostly disappointed on people these days. How they're so dependent on the heroes defeating the villains that, in general, they're very weak. Even if their number one heroes defeated, they have other heroes. And even if they lose their hope or dreams, they have other people to ask, to save them in any case. But once every single hero dies off or loses or retires, who will be there to save them? Who? No one. Everyone will be feeling hopeless and they will use their matters into their own hands. It's all just, a complicated web that not even a simple mind as Izuku to understand. He needs to mold his mind into thinking that not everyone is evil. And Izuku knows for a fact that the teachers here are brainwashing these children into thinking that villains are villains and heroes are heroes. Heroes are good guys, villains are bad guys. Izuku was disappointed because the teachers won't tell them the truth. The truth of everything. But Izuku thinks about this for a second, and if he even says this out loud or to other, of his peers, they'll think of him as an outcast, a weirdo, someone that you shouldn't even hang out with. Izuku was disappointed every time when a hero always stops a villain, even though the hero's goal is very simple. The villain's goals are very complex. Sometimes a life-changing scenario. Izuku wants to be in the same shoes as the villains for they can actually win. Many, many times over. Sometimes it's even hard to see a villain lose. Izuku doesn't really like heroes. He grows up knowing them that they're not even heroes in his eyes. Not even the number one hero. Izuku doesn't see him as a hero. He just sees him as a human who wishes to rise up in this hierarchy and just control the people's minds into thinking that everything is just peaceful and how he's full of hope and of a smile on his face. Izuku wanted to just smudge that smile off his face and show how weak these people really are. But he kept it to himself. Even if he actually told people, no one would believe a 3-year-old. And even if he, shared it among his friends, again, he'll be known as an outcast, a person who will always get bullied. Izuku doesn't mind, though. He knows the truth anyways. Even if he has to get hurt, he'll always know the truth. As Izuku, he grows up. One time when his mom goes out for groceries, Izuku was eating, chocolates and all, and Inko says he's not allowed to eat chocolates or anything because, he ate too much. And Izuku says, alright, I understand. And as Inko goes to the grocery store, Izuku slips into her room and tries to find the candy. He's curious. Even though he's a very intelligent person, he's curious. As Izuku just goes around the drawers of Inko's since they're low, Izuku stumbles upon a red case with a golden cross. As Izuku, he looks at it, curiosity struck him and says, I want to see this. I have nothing else to lose, so I might as well see it. So Izuku, he grabs the box and brings it to his mom's bed, and, he slowly opens it. As he opens it, he sees what seems to be a switch knife? Izuku doesn't really understand it, but it looks very cool. As he went to go and just hold it, Izuku could just feel the warmth of it. It's almost like someone was using it before. Or it's probably from the heat from the little case that was holding it in. But Izuku, he pressed what seems to be a little button and it flipped. It was very sharp. Izuku could just see the sharpness. So Izuku, he played around with it, even though it's very dangerous for a 3-year-old to play around it. Izuku, jabbed in the air, just playing around with it, and Izuku, he touched it with his little thumbs and dragged the knife a little bit against his thumb, causing it to cut himself a little. Izuku didn't really overreact and just said, "Ow, damn, this is really sharp." As he looks in his little thumb and notices a little drop of blood gushing through his whole hand. And Izuku was mesmerized by his own blood. It looked warm, and a red lush color, just like the knife. It felt, soothing, somehow. Izuku didn't know why, but it just felt right. Izuku could just feel the warmth of the blood going slowly towards his hand. Izuku was hypnotized by it. The red gush. He doesn't even care about the wound. He looks at it and just, licks it. And he was surprised of how sweet it is. It was salty, yes, but sweet. Izuku didn't know why. Probably because of the candy that he ate. But Izuku was, liking it. He liked the smell of his blood. He liked the taste of it. He even liked the color of it. Red. His little favorite color. Until he hears his mom coming in and says, "Oh shit, I'm gonna hide it, as Inko just goes in and says, "Izuku, why did you take that?" And, Izuku's hiding it behind his back. He says, what? No, nothing. And Inko could see the red box on her bed and says, "Did you take my knife? You mean your switchblade?" And Inko says, "How do you know it's a switchblade?" Izuku just, is an idiot and just says it out loud, saying, "Yeah, I took it." Inko comes and, closes the door behind her and says, "You're not supposed to take things from your mom, alright? Stealing is bad." Izuku says, "I, enjoy it, but whatever. Mom, where did this come from?" Oh, sorry. And Inko responds saying, that was a gift from your father." And Izuku says, "My dad? Why the heck would he give you this?" And Inko says, "That's not the problem right now. My problem is why you're bleeding." And Izuku looks it up and says, I hurt myself a little." And Inko just says, "Oh, come on, Izuku. Don't touch it." He didn't, she grabbed the little switchblade and, snatched it from his hands and just flipped it back on and just put it on the pillow. Well, not the pillow, the little box. He then she puts it on a higher drawer for Izuku cannot grab it. Inko says, "You're lucky you didn't hurt yourself more." Izuku says, I'm sorry." Inko says, "It's alright. Just don't touch it anymore." And Izuku says, "Could you tell me more about Dad?" Inko stops and says, "Alright." She went and grabbed something from her drawer, seems like a little bandage, and she sits down. Izuku walks up to her and Inko just puts a bandage on Izuku's little finger. Inko says, Well, your father was a very charismatic, handsome, and a very funny person. Izuku then asks, where is he then? Inko just responds saying, well, he's off to work. But how come I never seen him? He works overseas, alright? Izuku then responds saying, will I ever see him? Inko thinks about it for a second and says, yeah, I think you're able to see him. But not yet. Also, don't go th- don't go through my things, alright? And, Izuku puts his head down and says, alright, Mom. I'm sorry. And Inko responds saying, it's alright, just don't ever do it again. Not without my permission, though. Izuku says, alright. As Inko goes, takes Izuku to his room, and right around this time, it's already night. So, yeah, Izuku sleeps. And we're gonna fast forward until Izuku's actually 4, when his quirk unlocks. Now, as Izuku's in his room, playing with some little villain toys against All Might, villains bashing All Might in, and Izuku's actually, having fun as he commands his little army of villains attacking the number one hero, and All Might's on the floor bashing him with other villains. Izuku's actually, smiling, and suddenly a storm came in. Rain started to pour down, and Inko was, not expecting this. The forecast just says it's going to be clear and sunny all day. But as Izuku just keep on banging All Might with the villain toy again and again and again and again, Izuku's with a big happy smile. And as Izuku is bashing the little toy villain into All Might, he breaks the villain toy but keeps on bashing him in his face. Again and again and again, until lightning strikes right through their, house to All Might's toy. Izuku got blasted away thanks to all the shockwave and hits his head on the back on his wall. Izuku's trying to, well, trying to comprehend what's happening. It was just a lightning strike, but his ears started to ring a lot. And Inko rushed in, just yelling out for Izuku. And Izuku's just, he's dazing in and dazing out. Inko's just close to Izuku, trying to, shaking him, saying, is he alright? Is he alright? But Izuku can barely hear her. And slowly but surely, Izuku regained his senses and says, what the hell happened? And Inko says, I don't know. What happened? Your whole room got a whole blast. What the hell? And Izuku says, is this my quirk? As he could feel the static going around his body. It feels electrifying. Alright, I got a little pun there. And Izuku, he feels awesome. His quirk feels amazing. And Inko says, oh, thank God you're alright. But did you just awaken your quirk? And Izuku says, I think so. And Inko looks at the aftermath, a huge hole on her roof through his son's roof and to the floor. And says, for awakening your quirk, that's very powerful. And a little fire started to erupt from the whole thunder. And Inko says, oh shit, I should probably put it out. And Izuku, he raises his hand and says, go away. And as he does that, a little ball of water formed around Izuku's palm, and he throws it. He then stopped the whole little fire. And Inko was surprised, saying, wait, you have water too? And Izuku says, I have your... Do I have the same quirk as you? And, Inko says, maybe. I can control water, but not that much as you can. Well, probably because you just awaken it. And the lightning, though, that I can't explain. I think your father had like a, well, I actually had many quirks, but he mostly uses a fire breathing quirk. To you to have lightning, it's probably a blessing. Izuku says, so I I have this kind of power? Yeah. Let's go to the quirk doctor. I'll probably try to call someone to fix this up. I probably know who, but it'll take some time. And Izuku's, cool! I have my quirk! As, Inko takes Izuku to the quirk doctor, and the quirk doctor sees Inko and says, ah, Miss Midoriya, we meet again. Inko just crosses her hands, saying, alright, zip it, Doc. I've seen through your little, well, operation here. Pretty ballsy of you to be in this public place. I am a doctor, after all. Nice to meet you too, as well, Izuku. Izuku says, wait, did we meet it? Inko responds saying, yeah, when you were little. Anyways, my son here has awakened his quirk. And the quirk doctor says, wow. Alright then, let me perform some little experiments and see what your quirk is. Inko responds saying, alright then, but don't do anything that will cause your head to be chopped off, alright, Doc? I know how you are to other subjects. And, the doctor says, don't worry, Miss Inko. He's not one of them. And Izuku was very confused on that. And Izuku, the doctor tests Izuku on his whole quirk thing and how he can control water and actually strike lightning. But not only that, he can actually kind of teleport. Kind of same like Raiden, but he has to cover himself with lightning, infusing himself, or kind of like electricity to teleport, but to a short distance. And Izuku can actually take electricity from other things and use it for his own gain. His mostly color would be, well, greenish, but other times it would turn to a bluish kind of color. And, well, the doctor, he tests Izuku all of this, his physical, peak and everything, and he x-rayed them all. And 5 minutes pass, and Izuku's in a break room with Inko, and Izuku's holding his little, well, a little villain toy. And as the doctor comes in, he sits down and says, well, it seems that your son here has a water and lightning quirk. Very rare. And unique. Inko says, well, that's fine. Is there any problem with him? Izuku's also listening, and the doctor says, well, there's no problem at all. It seems that his body is able to own up to the power, but if he overuses too much, he probably will pass out. Or if he uses too much of his lightning or too much of his power, he'll probably break a few bones, but hey, it'll easily be repaired here. Inko then says, that's fine, I guess. As the doctor just puts down his papers and the room becomes silent. He then says, dear boy, what do you wish to be in the future? Do you wish to be a hero? And Izuku just looks down on his little villain toy and says, I don't, He then looks at his mom and he took a big gulp and says, I don't want to become a hero. And the whole room becomes silent. And Inko says, well, why not? And Izuku goes on and explains it all, and how fake their heroes are, and how they use their fame and glory to get whatever they want. It's pretty much selfish. And the people around him, well, around other heroes, feel safe. And, well, most of them will just... It goes on and explain more and more. But overall, he just says that he hates heroes, especially the number one. As the doctor and Inko smile. And the doctor says, well, I believe, well, Miss Inko, would you rather tell him or me? I could tell him, but will you? And Inko says, I guess I'll tell him. And Izuku says, tell me what? Inko looks at Izuku says, do you want to meet your father? Izuku responds saying, my dad? Now, this is where I'm going to end it up, guys. Probably is very short, I know. But I'm going to make another what if today, just to make this up. You know, probably what if Deku was the blind swordsman. Alright, I know this is very, very short. Probably will get a lot of, well, comments about this. But hey, this is the best I got. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, like if you like it, dislike it if you're new to the channel, welcome. And yeah.